man. This V-mail letter is from a young fellow in the South Pacific. He comes from the Lower East Side in New York, and I've known his family for a good many years. You see, I'm an East Side boy myself, and no matter where you live, you'll never move away from the East Side in spirit. Bill asks if his hometown has changed much since the war, and I thought instead of writing him, I'd show him and the rest of the men from the East Side just what's happening in the old neighborhood. Maybe some of you men who do not come from there may be interested too. There's no place quite like the East Side of New York in the whole world. Practically every nationality that ever came to America is represented there. You hear a lot about democracy, but sometimes it is difficult to define. The East Side is made up of every nationality and religion, and is a good example of democracy at work. Whenever I visit the East Side, I always stop in at the Fulton Fish Market. I used to work there as a young man. Nowadays, they're busier than ever. Folks here at home, because of meat rationing, eat a lot more fish, and the market is shorthanded since so many of their men are now in uniform. Wherever I went on the East Side, I saw service flags in almost every window. These folks, Italians, Greeks, Jews, Chinese, Russians, know what freedom means because many of them or their parents were denied it before they came to this country. They are pretty proud of those stars, each one standing for a man fighting for his country, and sometimes the star stands for a girl. As I was walking along, I saw this scene. Mr. Deutsch, once he lived in Germany, saying goodbye to his daughter. I asked him how he felt about her journey up, and he said, anything I've got, America can have, and he meant it. Down there, I found everybody contributing to the war, in whatever way they can, even the kids. After school, instead of filling the playgrounds, the children go around the neighborhood collecting scrap, which will be turned into bullets and guns. Most of the folks on the East Side haven't much to give, but whatever they have, they give gladly. At Seward Park High School, over on Essex Street, the boys near draft age are spending extra time concentrating on some skill, such as radio, which the Army and Navy needs. Seniors practice on an obstacle course, preparing for the day when they'll put on olive drab or navy blue. There's no part of life in this small town in Manhattan which hasn't been touched by the war. Every day on Grand Street, you can see the girls pricing wedding dresses, dreaming of the time when you fellows will be coming home to them. At settlement houses like the Educational Alliance, the older people give too. Here every day, mothers and grandmothers, and one grandfather make hospital gowns and kits.
I'm 74 years old. I do what I can.
I have 3 sons overseas. One is in Africa, and one in Europe, and one in West-South Pacific. And I'm a very proud mother.
Down on Monroe Street, I visited a Red Cross unit where mothers roll bandages for their sons overseas. And all day long, there is a line of women waiting to give their blood, which will be used as plasma. Mrs. Morano, Mrs. Weisenstein, Mrs. Scoris, Mrs. Kelly. They'd give a pint a day if it were asked of them. In every house of worship on the east side, prayers are said daily by these Protestants, Jews and Catholics for their sons and husbands who are fighting to preserve the freedom, peace, opportunity and happiness they found in America.
Ave Maria, grazie plena, Domini siede, benedicta tu mulheres, benedicta tu fruto do teu ventre, Santa Maria, Maria, Ave Maria, grazie